All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, we're here in the airport in Singapore. We just finished up 3 days in Singapore. This is my mother. This is my mother.
Your attention please. Air
Oh,
Asia flight AK1314
we are in the airport.
Ipoh is
We
delayed.
did just say
Due
we
to
were
late
in the
arrival
airport.
of the incoming
You
aircraft,
confirmed? We are in the
the estimated
airport.
time
There's a
of
robot behind
departure
us.
will
Oh,
be
There's a
yeah.
robot
That's
Vietnam
very
that's to
hours,
collect the
take our
10
take
p.m.
our
It's
plates
kind of
here in the
like
lounge. Okay, all
what
right,
I
now
used to
we're
be,
good.
like the robot.
That's what.
The mom I used to be able to I go around and clean up
But now we
after
just
you.
have robots.
And now we have robots. Where
Cool.
were they 25 years ago? Just saying.
Just saying.
Could have made my life easier.
Okay,
Okay.
on topic.
Topic.
So we're here in Singapore, and I just wanted to sit down and ask you some of your impressions of the city.
Yeah.
Maybe less about the futuristic nature of it, but more about the
Oh.
people and the vibes and understanding a different part of the world and
Yeah.
your ability to function within it for these few days.
Well, I think that was part of the appeal is the ability to function and the confidence to do that. Whereas in other countries, it wasn't so much the case. But here I felt very comfortable, obviously, because I speak English. But there's so many different languages. It's still very international. And I just felt at ease. Ease of getting around, ease of ordering my own food. I mean, as simple as that sounds, like that can be intimidating to go to a different country and do that. And Singapore was like 5-star all the way, just transportation, people, things to do, food. I can't say enough about it. Like, it was a really cool
Say
experience.
more. You can't say enough about it. Let's say more. Say it.
Yeah, yep. Let me say a little more about it. Like the part that I think I could do it independently. Like I didn't necessarily need you, like shadowing me and taking me around like we have in other countries.
But
I could do this.
I mean,
But it's a pleasure. Oh, don't get me wrong. These Carver coffee chats, like I can't do this on my own. So this is great. But I think you could probably see that even your mother.
yes, much more open to. I think before you started even like, one of the things I really appreciate about Singapore, as like advanced as it has become and modern and everything's convenient, is it's like a lot of these cities, so Shanghai and Hong Kong, have gotten rid of like. There's not necessarily like street food here, but they've retained like hawker center culture, right? There's still like these, it's very well. It's very well kept and clean, but
Yeah.
a lot of those style of eatery locations in Hong Kong and Shanghai have been either eradicated or pushed out of the city center because it's seen as like not a symbol of modernity. So I'm saying Shanghai and Hong
Yeah,
Kong,
or
it's
like dirty
basically-
and like no food safety,
Right.
that type of stuff.
Here, one, I'm very confident that isn't the case, just with a general understanding of what I've read about Lee Kuan Yew and the government that has been installed. Like that, I don't think it's not the
100%.
sanitary issue, but like, even because I think cities like Shanghai and Hong Kong, they're thinking about like what is the perception, like what perception will people have of this as a representation of our city, versus Singapore. Like, one, I think perhaps they care less about it, but no, like I'm saying they've still retained that hawker center, which is like when you go there, like the first night we just sat down and talked
Yeah.
to like these two aunties for like an hour.
Right.
And we
Right.
just going to these types of places and just hanging out there. And yeah, I think I'm glad that you were open to do that and to speak with the people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the characteristic of the city and these different neighborhoods that made it so appealing and different yet comfortable. Like to go sit down and have people sit at your table. Like I can't imagine in the U.S. if you're like in a food court, right?
Well, I'm not super. I don't know if that is how things work in Singapore, but I know that's how it works for Chinese.
China,
Not necessarily in China, but Chinese almost
Right.
all around. Like, even just places where there is Chinese culture. And so, like, the two examples in which that happened. So the first night we went to the hawker center, they were already sitting there.
Right.
And then we sat down, and I just kind of understood that would be okay. And then when we were at the table it was the People's Park place, and a guy sat
right,
down
the
next
guy
to us.
sat-
He was very clearly a mainlander.
Very
But I-
clearly to you.
Yes, but like I don't know. Well, regardless, that's what we did. So
Regardless, the sharing of the spaces and like
great.
not
It's great.
looking at like this is mine like we do maybe
Yeah.
back in the US. You wouldn't go to a food court, you wouldn't go to any restaurant and like have just strangers sit with you and be welcomed.
It's actually one of the
right?
it's one
like
of the things there's a myriad of things I'm concerned about when I go back about my behavior and what's normal. And so like one particularly here I thought it was a little more frowned upon, but like this idea of bringing your own drinks into a restaurant, like to me, I'm just gonna be like, oh, I forgot, or the sitting.
That
or
is interesting.
the sitting down at the table when there's open seats and like, oh wait, yes, but no, I think the fact that we did it, regardless of whether that is a norm here or not,
Right.
like we had these conversations that we wouldn't have had otherwise, which
Absolutely.
I think was, especially those two aunties that first night.
Yeah,
like,
that was really neat.
Yeah,
And remember when they kept saying how young I looked?
they did.
They did several times. And
Wait.
let's carry that theme, right? Let's
Well,
carry
when we had
that.
the mainland
Nope.
aunties the next day.
I was going to say, let's carry the theme because
Yeah.
the next day that was continued, right? And how young your
the
mother
next day
looks.
when we hit one of the top tourist locations,
Yeah.
there was a Chinese cruise ship
Oh my gosh.
that was doing a tour
That
near
was
the area.
hilarious.
Yeah, and
The
yeah,
minute
I s-
Mandarin came out of your mouth,
yeah,
the swarms of people came over like he was some I don't know if it's like celebrity or some little my baby genius or what, but it was unreal.
was
They
funny.
were fascinated.
that was funny.
And I was so proud, you know?
No, but how about you could very easily see the difference between the Chinese and Singaporeans in general, but like Chinese Singaporeans. You could kind of detect a little bit the behavior of the two different groups.
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I
I'm
agree.
saying you can. They're ethnically all Chinese. They all generally speak
Sure.
Mandarin.
Sure.
There's variations of it, but like you can almost instantaneously know just from several characteristics of their behavior, whether
Several
it is
unique
talking very
characteristics.
loudly on the phone. Yes, there's a lot of ways you can easily, but you saw that as well. Like you can they're just
Yeah,
the way that they operate, interact with each other, is so different.
it is. And I think that's why, no offense, but I liked being here because I liked the variety, but they weren't like
A sense
in
of
your-
manners, the sense of
Well,
manners
the
in
manners
Singapore.
is what we know, manners, right? I don't
So
want
what
to
I'm
say.
saying, the sense of manners in Singapore is more in line with your understanding of a set of manners.
what- that's
so
what I was
again, like I say all the time, like I'm not
Yes.
saying that they
They're
are
wrong.
intrinsically rude, but
Agreed.
their behaviors in other contexts are perceived as rude. That's what I'm saying. So
To what I
exactly.
know,
So I'm
yes.
saying here the standards of
That,
okay.
That makes me crazy. And I remember when it first happened, and you're like, "Mom, it's like normal. It's like healthy. It's like good for you." And I'm
Part
like,
of Chinese traditional medicine. That's
I can't. But you know what? Now I've accepted it. When
Yeah.
I hear it, I'm like, oh.
But also, how about when you're living in their world, when you're in Shanghai and that's the norm, versus when you're here and you're like, it's, again, it's just the context is super important and how people
Sure.
behave, right? And when you're in Singapore, or yelling on the cell phone when you're in a
Yeah.
temple,
Yeah.
which is another thing we encountered,
Oh.
like that's not cool.
Right.
But when you're in their world, like it's just like,
That's yeah.
right.
No, I get it. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. It's what they know. They're not intentionally being rude. It's just they think it's normal. Maybe it is normal. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're too
I mean, the correct answer is that there is like no normal.
right.
It's all context
Right.
based.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Singapore has been good. I really enjoyed it. I will live here at some point for years.
Years, you think?
Years meaning more than one.
So this is 2024, December 2024.
I don't know when it'll be, but it'll be. I mean, the weather is great. It is and the midday gets super hot, but like
Ooh,
it's
it's hot.
consistently great. I really like the people. I like the multicultural aspect to the point where I could. Obviously, the Chinese culture is very strong. I could start to learn more Malay, more of like South Indian. There's a lot of Tamil. So like on the metro, there's Tamil script Chinese, English. So I'm just saying, like, there's opportunities to
Sure.
all go deeper into different cultures all in one place.
Yeah.
Again, the weather's great. It is just it's a hub. The ease of like visitors, right? So not visitor like anything from business connections to like personal relationships. It's just you literally just fill out this form. It's very open to
Yeah.
most countries around the world versus China. Like it's just
Yeah.
intense, right? Immigration wise. So that's a plus. And it's just I don't know. I like it a lot.
I felt even more welcomed by the locals than when we were in Shanghai, right? Like when we sat down and
Really?
had breakfast.
I think it's the ability to talk.
Yeah, it totally. You're
Think
right.
about when you go
You're
to the
right.
park and you dance with them.
Right. That's
When
true.
you were
They
dancing with
very
the elderly in the
welcoming.
Shanghai parks.
You're right. It's the language.
I think they were even more welcoming.
Yeah, fair.
But it's just there's no ability to express that through language.
Yeah.
And that's where the discomfort lies from. I
Right.
don't think they're
But
more or
good
less
thing I was
welcoming.
able to do it through my dance moves,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like then they knew, like this woman is what we want here. But what I was
for
thinking,
60 days at a time.
well, you can only take me in small doses, so that's kind of appropriate. What is it in Singapore?
What do you mean?
How many days can I be here?
90 days with no visa. 90 days on arrival, no visa, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
But the locals in Singapore, like when we were sitting there having our coconut water and whatever, they initiated the conversation with us. But
I
you're
think
right;
it's
it's
the
about the
language.
English. You're
because
right. You're right.
think about it. Anyone who could speak a level of English in Shanghai, they'll say, "Where are you from?"
True.
They are interested. They're just
It's
and
the
again,
language.
I now know from operating on their side of
Yeah.
the world so often is like I know they're super eager and
Yeah.
interested, especially in Shanghai about foreigners, and they want to know where you're from, but they just get so nervous oftentimes if they
Yeah.
don't have confidence in their English, which is natural. So yeah, I don't think it's more or less welcoming.
Okay.
But it's more open.
You know what? It's a comfort,
There's
right?
a
It's
level
comfort
of
level
openness
for me
here. Yeah.
with that openness because of the language. You're right.
There are different dynamics when you're in mainland that aren't necessarily the case here. And that can be comforting for some people,
Yep.
especially those that don't really understand those dynamics
Yeah.
and just kind of see it on the surface. Yeah, it's much more open in that sense.
Are you saying I'm more on the surface and not deep? Careful how you answer that.
No, there's more like the geopolitical implications. I'm saying
Gotcha.
is like
Yeah.
some of the words or understandings of how things are. When you really understand it, it's not as severe as you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there might be discomfort when you don't have that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so in Singapore, that's
Yeah.
not necessarily the case.
No,
right?
but right in Shanghai, I was like worried about everything I was doing.
You just wanted to be, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to do it the right way or I didn't want to offend. But here with the language, and again, I think it all comes down to that and the communication, even the metro, like this, like I was able to do that.
The norms here are closer to your norms. And that's
Okay.
what I was telling you about, like, so even Shanghai, but like Singapore and Hong
Yeah.
Kong, I think you would like Hong Kong as well in that sense compared to a city in mainland
Oh.
is that the nature of these cities, that they were British colonies until, in Hong Kong until
Yeah.
20, 25 years ago. Singapore has been independent for much longer, but they've still embraced and retained the connection with England, is that the country you're from is derived, at least the culture, the majority of the culture is derived from the same place that is here.
Yeah.
So of course the norms here are going to be closer
Yeah.
to your norms.
Right. It's the country you're from too.
It is, yes.
Just
Yes, but
Yeah.
I'm putting it specifically.
I get
in
it.
your-
Just
yeah.
to be
Just to be
clear. I am the mother.
Yes, but I think we need to wrap it up now because our flight is boarding right now, I believe,
Oh. All right, because I was debating a.
or it's going to start boarding. But
Okay.
what's up?
No, it's
No,
not.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this is. I was debating my next move, if it was the bathroom or the gate.
You could probably run in the bathroom one more time.
Okay.
But Bali up next.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to expect.
I think we'll
don't
do it.
wanna
We'll do a
get too-
check-in every 3 days, which is
Okay.
for context, like when we're moving around to different neighborhoods or different areas of the island. This was also a 3-day stint here as well. So each 3 nights we'll film a bit of an update on how you're feeling and how you're adjusting.
Do you think I'm going to want to stay here forever? Stay there forever, Bali?
Pros
you
and
think?
cons. Pros and
Okay.
cons.
All right.
All right. Until the next installment.
Mama Max. Mama Max.
All right.
Carver Coffee Chat. Coffee Chat. Carver Coffee.
All right. 3 days later. 3 days in Bali.
3 days in Bali.
How's it been? How's it been so
You
far?
know what? I'm just even more relaxed. And I don't know if it's because of Bali or just disconnecting and getting further into getting away from the norm. The place we are staying at is incredible. It's beautiful. It's all I need. Beautiful living space, and the pool is a bonus. It's nice to go swimming every morning. Get the coffee. Oh, and the Balinese massage was a treat.
Yeah, that's good. I might
That was a
I
treat.
might plug in the video I took of you right after that of your reaction, because that was,
Oh,
yeah.
I bet I was looking beautiful. I was almost waiting for you to come in and do a little video while she was doing the massage, but I was like,
It was your you time.
oh, well, that's nice. That's nice. You did make it about me. That was very nice. So, again, just relaxing and being able to do nothing and not feel guilty about that. That's the word I was looking for. It just took me a while to be able to do nothing and not feel guilty about it and just relax. I don't get to do that often, checking emails or phone calls or bills, just stuff. And just getting rid of that noise has been nice. The breakfast place we went to was really cool too. I loved that whole ambiance there. I could open up a shop like that. I just don't know where I would do it, but that was cool. Eating foods I don't normally eat. That's a big one for me. The Lady Gaga breakfast bowl.
Yeah, that smoothie bowl.
Smoothie bowl.
Very exotic Indonesian dish you have there.
It was very exotic for me.
Right, but it's, I mean,
Well, but
yes, but like it's a smoothie with then fruit on top.
But you know what? I don't normally eat that.
Yeah.
So it's not normal for me. So,
Sure, but it's not necessarily like this idea of you are in this foreign land trying their food that you don't know what it is. Like it's literally food catered towards the Westerners.
It was delicious and a nice way to start my day, and I tried something new. Could you give me that? You know,
It's called the Lady Gaga bowl.
well, I was wondering why. Was it because it was purple?
I mean, I don't know, but regardless, obviously that's a name inspiration not from here.
Okay, the point is, I ordered something.
What about the people?
Wouldn't have ordered
Did you like the
somewhere
people?
else.
Do you like the people? What about the people?
Do like the people. You know what? The service is really nice, and you know, I don't want to go hating on like the whole concept of tipping, but you don't tip and you just get nice service. Like
You
it's
do
just-
tip.
Oh, you tip?
Have you not been tipping? Have you not been tipping?
Well, you've been paying the bills.
Have you not been tipping for anything?
I haven't paid for anything. Did I?
Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know there was tipping. Well, good. They're still nice.
Right.
Did you tip last night at dinner?
You haven't been tipping?
Stop. Don't make me feel bad. You need to, you know who you need to give a triple tip to is, how about that Uber Grab driver last night? Dude, you made him back into an alley.
I didn't make him
In
do
the
anything.
pouring
I didn't
rain.
make him do anything.
That was I thought we were like.
I didn't make him do anything.
Oh, you would have yelled at him. You would have been like, not close enough. Brought out your Shanghai knees.
Well, I mean, it was pouring, and
was
the
pouring.
car can make it to the door, so the car should
Yeah, but I
make
made
it to
it
the
backwards. I felt like we were in an action movie, like going down a back alley backwards. But we did it. He needed a tip, though. I hope you tipped him well. Walking along the beach was really nice. Even with the weather not so great, it was really pretty there and the breeze was nice. And yeah, people from all over. Not as like welcoming per se as Singapore, maybe, because everyone's kind of in their zone. Where in Singapore they were more
Well, what interactions did you have in Singapore that made you felt welcoming?
in the restaurants.
The hawker center and then the restaurant the following day. Okay. So generally, how did those conversations start?
With you speaking in the language.
Okay.
All right, back to the language thing.
So if we want to talk to some of the people on their laptops, we can. But if you were in a cafe alone, sipping your coffee with your headphones in and a laptop, would you want some lady just visiting there to come over and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Well, if it was me, it'd probably be a welcome surprise in their day, but fair. Well, that's why I'm saying they're all like kind of in their zone, like doing their thing, which isn't bad.
Right.
I kind of like a place where you can walk around more, which I did want to explore. I know you didn't think this was, I mean, there isn't, like when we drove by it through Seminyak, that looked like a place I could adventure around in and walk around. This wasn't so much like that, but it had everything we needed.
We're in Canggu for reference.
Canggu. So in Canggu, it was great. We could just go to the breakfast spot and laundry was right there. That was nice. It's a really nice touch to have laundry done for you.
So do you think you could live here?
I don't know if I would live in this particular city.
What do you mean? The village, you mean?
Village.
Okay.
I don't know if it's this village, but this house I could, anywhere. So thank you. Well done. We're off to our next stop.
Yeah. Is that you signaling that you're done with this right now?
Oh, just because of the weather, we didn't do a ton of experience outside of.
Do you feel good with your adjustment abilities, your adaptability abilities? Do you feel like you're, like, think about if you were to never have traveled before and then just came straight here. Don't you think you'd be a little caught off guard?
Of course. I mean, I
Just
think
by the vibes difference?
the vibes are definitely different. Even the language, I don't think everyone speaks English here, so that's a little tougher. I was a little more intimidated to go on Grab and order stuff on my own, so that would take a little bit.
What exactly about going on Grab and ordering stuff intimidated you?
Are you making fun of me?
Well, I'm curious as to what going on the app to order food, what component of that intimidated you? Because actually, I think that is the way in which you would curb any fear of language and verbal communication, right? So what exactly did
I was
stop?
just looking for a specific vanilla latte,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find it. There was a lot going on the app. Maybe it was just a poor app experience.
Might be a UX issue.
It might be a UX issue. There's a lot going on.
Right.
As
Maybe that's
opposed
your
to
first
DoorDash.
gig over here.
Well, it's my gig at home, so.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe you could take your contracting work over here.
Yeah. There was just a lot going on, and to just find like coffee because I thought when I put in coffee, the place that you went to that's right here would pop up first. and it
Right, but
didn't.
also, so think about this UX design issue, because maybe this is also an insight into some of your understanding of you living abroad. That was designed, that specific layout, it varies more or less, it varies more or less in Southeast Asia. Grab doesn't change that much. There's another one called Gojek, which is specifically Indonesian. You'd probably be even more confused with that interface design. It was designed for Indonesians to use it. Okay? So
Yeah.
think about how many focus groups you have, how many trials. Oh, why didn't you press this button? Why did you? Okay, so they do that for a different society that grew up in a different part of the world. So yes, it might be having a lot going on, but it's not necessarily poor UX design.
Fair.
Perhaps they would say you have poor comprehension of their well thought out and well developed app.
And that I wouldn't argue. There we have it. Okay.
There's two sides to it. You can't.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I just wanted you to take my side. But clearly, that doesn't really.
If you can lay
Ever-
out the logic, I'm
ever
happy
happen.
to. But I.
Yeah, but everything has to be a debate with you. Like, why do I have to prove my point if I just said I don't like it? It's a busy UX experience. Like, I don't get why you can't just say, you know what, Mom? I'm sorry. Can I help you?
I went
in some
on.
way?"
I went on this.
No,
I went.
you
I went.
to- no, you went to. Well, let's think about how they designed it, and maybe it's just.
I went
above
on
you.
this app to order a product
And the
that
relentless
that
thing,
is
you can't
specifically
let it go.
marketed
Yep.
towards foreigners
Yep.
on an app that's not designed towards foreigners.
Right.
And you just arrived, and
I think the real problem is it's been raining this morning and I haven't been able to get a freaking latte. I need my coffee. Tea's nice, but
all right. Well, we have to check out in like 20 minutes, so we could probably grab our bags and go to a cafe and sit and relax and hang out.
let's go sit and relax.
Is my enunciation an issue?
Enunciation? Yeah. All right. Thanks for the stay in, Kanju.
Changu.
Chingu. You say Chingu, I say Chingu. It's all good. I'm
all
ready for
good.
the next stop.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, just finished another 3-day set here in Bali. We've been in the south of Ubud. We've been mostly hanging out here and hanging out in the village area, walking around
And
cafes.
if you look at
etc.
it, you can understand why we
It's
would want to
been-
stay
it's been,
here.
It's been lovely. But how have you been feeling as far as, again, we're doing the 3-day check-ins. This is
Yep.
check-in number 3. How have you been feeling about your time being here?
Well, the villas absolutely blow me away, right? Like the first one you you arranged for us was beautiful. Right across the street from the coffee shop, which was nice. And then we came here, which is a little, further out. And not a lot of things around us, but the villa and just being able to relax and be at peace at a home environment has been amazing. Adapting to like this outdoor living, right? Like this kitchen and living room is all open and you're exposed to nature, right? The rain or the sun at any time is a different way of living. And then our little private bedrooms have been nice to just kind of escape. But it's also, because we're in a remote spot, given me more time to kind of just reflect or just like think. Like I have a whole day where I'm not like answering emails or going to meetings or making phone calls. And as soon as I even start saying that, I can feel like the stress building up in me.
I can see the stress building up in you.
You can see it?
I can see the stress building up in you.
Are you making fun of me?
No, there was like a physiological response.
Right?
to-
Like-
oh, there it is, right there. You're about to start crying. Okay, all right, okay. Let's do it. Let's dig into it. Why? So what has been being here done to alleviate some of those stresses that
Well,
are?
it's because I don't want to have that stress. I just don't anymore. Like that's not what's important.
What's important?
The career I've had is great. Been very fortunate, but I've worked hard. Put you through school, bought houses, like did everything monetarily that I wanted to do, but that's not what's important now. And I think that's what I'm figuring out, right? And the reflection here in time to just sit and focus on, okay, I'm, 50 years old, plus 7. What does the future look like for me? But not only what does it look like for me, what do I want it to be, right? Because it doesn't have to be that traditional path anymore. And I think you've showed me that, right? As you growing up and exploring and certainly not taking the traditional path and how happy that's made you, it's opened up those ideas to me. Like, yeah, you don't have to work till you're 65 and then retire and then hopefully be healthy enough to do what you want to do. You know, there's different routes you can take.
Well,
and-
that's even specifically a very American thing. Like people will
Yeah.
retire, like women retire at 50 in China,
Women retire at 50 in China.
generally.
I should have been there.
Been born in China.
Born in China.
No,
Yeah.
many places around this idea of 65 is
Yeah.
kind of pretty wild to them. I'm saying even if within the traditional sense of their world, to them the 65 thing is like they see as ridiculous. That's not even including the people who do the non-traditional way of things, as it relates to what their traditional life would look like in their country or culture or world. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah,
You shouldn't do that.
I know, and reading and you offering the things for me to read and making me more curious about, oh, I don't have to, like, whoever set these rules, right? There are other options, and when you start to look into those and see that they're a reality, like, I could live in another country if I wanted to. I could retire before. I mean, luckily I've gotten all my ducks, I've done my homework beforehand to do that. It's not like I can just randomly stop working, but it's an option, and that's super exciting. So now I've got to plan it and act on it, and it's going to be a reality within the next 2 years.
Right.
So,
But let's talk about, you've been living in beautiful villas for 6 days,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I'm here to assist
Yes.
anything that might come up. Now
Yes.
let's talk about if you were to get somewhere long term that where,
Right.
I'm not saying it would be of less beauty as this
Sure.
place. I do think the place that you're going to settle into would be on par with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so the idea that you're not doing the changing every few days to where there's like this honeymoon period of, oh,
Yeah.
this is great. You know,
Fair.
it might stale out a little bit.
Right.
Like there might be issues that arise that I'm not here to resolve immediately and you're going to have to handle. So like, what do you think your life alone would be here as far as the adaptability aspect?
I agree, and that's probably still what's like, I'm not ready to say I'm 100% in to do this, and what would that look like alone? I think I have to feel more comfortable with the community that I'm in, right? And I
Do
don't.
you think you would strive to learn a little bit of the language?
I think I could do the basics. I don't think I would have to.
I mean, Bahasa Indonesia is one of the easiest languages for English speakers to learn in the world, actually.
Then if this were the place I landed for a longer period of time, I absolutely would. But I don't feel it's a necessity to be happy and function and fit in.
No.
I guess is what I'm saying.
No, it's not a necessity, but obviously it'll evoke more of a sense of respect from
Sure.
the people here, and they might be willing to welcome you in more, even if you
Sure.
are not having these conversations in Bahasa. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you are trying,
Yeah.
they will want to interact with you
Right.
more and welcome you in.
No, that's fair.
It's just it's like a tip of the cap. Like it's
Yeah.
I remember the first time it ever happened, I was in Hong Kong and I walked into a 7-Eleven and like we paid and we did the exchange. And I was like, "Ngoi sai," which is thank you in Cantonese. And he goes, "You're welcome." And I just thought like that, like each of us speaking the other, and like, yes, I understand English is well spoken in Hong Kong, but like there was almost this like
Yeah.
exchange of like mutual respect.
Respect.
Where, yeah, I think if you were to do that and take that, again, because we've also talked about like, what are you going to spend your days on? When
Right,
you do have
right.
that ultimate freedom, like it will get stale at
Yeah.
times, you will be, and so that could be like, you generate like happiness and fulfillment, like there needs to be some sort of goal you're working towards, right? Like this idea of infinite games, like you need to be doing something to which you're constantly, and that might be the small thing that you do, right? And the rest of the time you can hang out and do what you want, but that might be the one thing that's like you're accountable each day to do a little
Yeah.
bit to progress towards it. I think that's, and it's just also a way to like keep your brain and mind nimble too, right?
Sure.
Like pushing the limits of it. So I think that could be good. Any other concerns about if I were to not be here to arrange for things? How have your interactions with the people been generally, do you think?
Well, they've
As
been
far as
minimal, I
ease-
think,
e-
so
yes,
far.
but the ones that you've had, the ease of communication, do you think there's been full communication I think there was like a couple miscommunications yesterday where I was
Right.
like, hey, use this
Right,
word
where you
instead.
showed me where
Use,
they
you
came
know,
in to give us the massage
think about what are the higher frequency words.
and the facials, but
And
yeah,
I
to
think
do
so. You were right over here, and you were explaining to them like which room, which person. You go, my son is in this one. I'm in this one, and they didn't understand. And I was
Right.
like, I was like, me, you. I just said to you.
Yeah.
And what I meant by that is like, my room. What you should have done is my room is here, his room
Yeah.
is here. Like using my son. One, they might not understand. It's just not like necessary
Sure.
to. So I think there's communication might be. I don't think it's. You would be absolutely stranded in the sense that you wouldn't be like you can convey what you mean to people. In
Right.
the worst case, you use a translator, and you also learn like that's not. But obviously, it's not you being in Florida and whatever you say out of your mouth, the other person is going to understand in a
but it's
full
also
way.
not me being in Shanghai where they definitely I felt totally alienated, right? Like the language was definitely a barrier there. Where here it's middle of the road, right? Like I could get by, I could learn some more, but like those tips you gave me with me, me here, like now I know that's how I have to think about it. I will do that. But those are the things I didn't just know, right?
Or I remember when you were trying to get the AC fixed with him yesterday, and you were like, "Could you make it cooler?" And he was a bit confused. I go,
Yeah.
"More cold,"
Yeah.
and that's like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just understanding, and I think the issue with that kind of stuff is you haven't learned a second language yourself, so you don't understand like the right where when I
I took Spanish in high school.
podemos hablar en español si quieres
Muy
si
bien.
quieres español no
Muy bien.
right. No, it's just like the idea of like what are the critical words.
Yeah.
Like no, yes, like you wouldn't if you were in the U.S. You would not say, "Can you help me make this more cold?" Or like more, you would say cooler,
Right.
colder, right? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you got to break it down to the base
Yeah.
units. I think that's just like a tip in general
Sure.
communication. What else as far as the adaptability aspect? We've been out and about a little bit. Like you've seen the roads. Like, would you be comfortable? Would you rent a bike? Like, would you rent a motorbike? Like, how would you get around? Would you feel comfortable with that? Like, how would all of that work?
I would. I might try a motorbike. It's just they go so fast. Like when they're all together, that makes me nervous. Me just riding a bike through, I would do that, but it's in the traffic that makes me nervous. The traffic's been a lot here.
Well, but Bali is not what it was in Eat, Pray, Love. It's not these necessarily open roads you can ride your bicycle down.
Right. That I would.
It's getting
do.
a little congested
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah. So I still got to feel that out, but I don't know if you need to with how affordable it is to just like get a car or get a ride or have things delivered,
Yeah.
Things like that. Again, the walkability of a community, I'm excited to see what that's like and see if that's something that would make me feel more comfortable
Yeah,
that
so
I
today
could.
we'll be in Ubud town.
Yeah.
I have not been there yet.
Oh, okay.
I spent all of the time before in like the southwestern coast.
Okay. I didn't
But
realize that.
Supposedly it's more walkable.
Yeah. So excited to take a look at that and check back in.
Was that you signaling to
Yeah.
me that you're done and you want to wrap
Yeah,
this up?
let's wrap it up. We got to pack up this beautiful place and check out, and this has been amazing. So thank you again for your guidance and patience with your mama and the massages and the facials and the breakfast delivery.
I mean, on that note,
It's-
you're having the more pampered Bali experience, right?
That's okay. What?
Yes, but what I'm saying is,
Living here is different.
yeah,
Sure, but we already talked about I could easily afford a
You-
massage a week
you could, yes,
or two.
you can do whatever you please.
Am
But
I-
all I'm saying is, another conversation we've had is, if 5 years ago you were allowed to go down to Florida, right, and you're there for the week and you're on the water and you're able to just sit there and see it, and then you go back, like the feeling of doing something like that now for long term,
Yeah.
don't you think it might get stale?
Maybe.
Right? Like the places you've been in North Carolina, if you've been close to the water, it's like almost like these dream places. Okay. After a week, it starts to feel normal.
Yeah.
And so I just
Agree.
think that might happen to you here. And again, I think you being from Villa A to Villa B every 3 days and changing it. Like there's this excitement and like honeymoon-esque
Yeah,
honeymoon-esque
I
period
absolutely
of it.
agree with that.
Where again, I think something we've had conversations with off camera, and I'm trying to drill into you is this idea of like, but what are you going to spend your days doing? I get that like just relaxing and doing nothing is awesome, but you can't do nothing forever.
Sure.
You'll get, yeah.
And I think that's where I'm saying to you, I still have not found that where do you want to settle down or be for longer than 6 to 12 months. I haven't found it. I don't know where that is. And
Right,
maybe
but
that's okay.
I don't think you're going to find that.
Yeah,
You know, what I'm saying is like there is no perfect place.
sure.
And the amount of time you're going to spend from being in this place for 2 months and this place 2 months and this testing it out, years have already gone by where you're going to realize by the end of those trial periods that it's like, it's all the same more or less. Mm-hmm. I just need to choose one. And then when I'm there, I will become used to it. I will adapt to it. I will make my life comfortable there. And again, a lot of the work to feel comfortable there is more of the internal stuff and in your head than it is the physical reality of that place. So I think you got to think on that a little more as well.
I will take that as more homework the next few days
Great.
and more thinking.
Cool.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So proud of you. Handsome boy.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Do I need to pack up your stuff or,
My bags are packed. Are you
impressive.
fully packed up?
I'm pretty packed up. And now that it's stopped raining, I'm going to go get my bags. So
Okay.
it's a wrap.
But how are you going to go through the green screen?
That's going to be tough.
How are you going to go through the green screen?
Want me to try?
Go for it.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Can you break through? Did you break through?
I broke through.
All right.
Breakthroughs all around.
Breakthroughs all around. You're going to get your bag?
Yeah.
All right. We can still hear you. Do you want to say anything before
Oh.
you grab your bags?
Thank you, my son, for a beautiful stay here. And let's continue this adventure.
Let's continue this adventure. All right. We'll see you in the next installment.
If you can't see the nice, I'll save my hat for tomorrow.
Okay, whatever. Good?
Oh, yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, another...
Sorry.
Good.
Yep.
All right, another 3 days later. You're laughing. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, all right, ready? Another 3 days later,
Yeah.
here in Ubud proper. We're
Yeah.
closer to town. We were within walkable distance.
The walkability was really nice.
Another check-in. How are you
Yeah,
doing so
yeah.
far on this trip?
Yep. Well, it's hard to believe it's Christmas Eve
It is Christmas Eve.
morning. It's crazy to think about that.
Why?
Especially-
Why is that?
Well, first of all, because I'm sweating, and that doesn't happen that often on Christmas Eve, but it's nice. It's a nice change. So yeah, Ubud, biggest village, right, of where we've been staying so far, and the walkability has been key, I think, to just kind of seeing more things. But let's reflect on the things we did see, right? Like this is where we really did some sightseeing, which I know you're a big fan of, but I was able to see what I had pictured in my mind as Bali. When we had our guy, Andre, take us around to some spots, being able to just hire a private driver that's affordable to take us where we want to go. And it was a rainy day, but we went to see some of the highlights. The rice fields were beautiful, even in the pouring rain. It was nice to see that in person. And where else did we go? We weren't going to be able to get to a waterfall because a couple of them were closed due to the rain, but we were able to go to the waterfall and see that. Was an intense waterfall, and I even went out there and did a little twirl, didn't I? I did. Which kind of speaks to being in another place that you're not, or I'm not, right, as self-conscious or worried about who's watching, who's looking, what are they thinking, what are they doing, that's really nice. That's very, what's the word I want to think of? I don't know. It's just a nice change of pace to just be and do, and only worry about embarrassing you. But so that was a nice experience. And then where else do we go? Oh, we didn't want to go to a touristy place for lunch, so we asked our driver for like a local restaurant. And how nice it was to sit and have satay, one of the local dishes, looking at the rice fields, right? Having our lunch. That was really nice. Why are you staring at me like that?
I'm listening.
So we did that. Then I think you had enough of the touristy sites, because I know that's, Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty is not your idea of a good trip. It's going to the places people don't go to. So we asked Andre to take us to a market, because you love markets. And of course, on the search for the durian, the king of fruits, right?
The king of fruits.
The king of fruits. So that was a fun little adventure.
Kampong durian.
Kampong durian.
Don't get it mixed up. Don't go for the high grade yada yada they tell you about and they give you this grand story.
Right.
Just get the village durian.
Village durian.
All the way. Village durian all the way.
Village durian.
Village durian all the way.
And I have to say, watching you in a market negotiate your village durian is an attraction in itself. Okay? So, and I think one of my favorite pictures is of you saying, like, come on, to the lady, and the lady's looking at you like, are you out of your mind?
She was ripping us off. She was charging 70 per kilo.
Okay.
70 per kilo of some roadside durian. And we went to the
Unacceptable.
market and we got 6 kilos for 60.
Yeah, that was crazy. You felt like you won the lottery, the durian lottery. So we
It's
walked
fair
around-
prices. That's all I'm asking for. I just don't want
Fair.
to. Don't like. She thinks I don't know what I'm talking about with my durian. She
You-
thinks
you
I'm just
know
like
your durian.
the foreigner coming here. Oh, I must try durian. I must do it. I don't know anything about the prices of durian. I'm well in tune with the market prices of durian.
You are very well in turn. Tune. In tune? So we walked around the market, so excited to find not only the great durian deal, but
We have a lot of fruit we
some
haven't
fruit.
even eaten yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Should we bring it or?
Can we bring it?
I mean, why not?
Yeah. I'll have a little mango before we go. And you cut open your durian. What else do we
Well, I
have?
offered to bring it to the next place.
Yeah, I
Should we
know.
bring it. Or
Yeah, we can bring it. But what
Okay.
else do we get? You got mango.
Just a lot of goodies.
Yeah. So walking around the market was nice because it wasn't a tourist market where they were trying to get us to buy stuff. That was a little uncomfortable. I wasn't expecting that in Ubud as we walked around, but in the local market it wasn't like that, obviously. But I don't think, one of my highlights of the trip was definitely when we walked back to the car with the fruit and the durian, and you were like all psyched to tell Andre, the driver, like this deal you got your durian, and he's like, no, I can't get in the car. Because I don't know if we've talked about it for people that don't know, but durian is a lot on the smelly side, where there
In a
are
good
actually
way.
laws, right? Like, or rules where you can't bring your durian.
Which I am vehemently against.
I know. You're going to start a Save the Durian fund.
Free the durian.
Free the durian.
International movement.
Yeah,
Lobby governments to
wow. Okay.
to prohibit bans on durian.
All right.
In
That could be a
commercial places.
whole podcast in itself. But he wouldn't let us bring it in the car. So I was just standing on the sidewalk going to watch how this played out because I knew you would flip out if you were going to lose your durian deal. And Andre was just like, nope, nope. And then he like walked away. And I wasn't sure quite what was going to happen next. But I don't even think we can explain it well. Maybe you can add some photos into this
Sure.
podcast to kind of show what happened. But he tied each of them up individually and tied him to the back of the car. Like, all I could think of was in the US, you know, how some like rednecks hang the balls, like hang the
Like a scrotum.
sacks, like scrotum balls on the back of a car. It was hilarious.
Just some durian testicles from the back of the
Durian
truck.
testicles. Yep,
Yeah.
that's another way of saying it.
There were 3.
Dragging the durian testicles through the town
Hitting the speed bumps.
on the speed bumps. When we got
dragging on the road.
on the they were dirty.
The way I set
Dirty
this
durian.
durian up, I don't know if it's completely visible, but on the back we have, it's all marked up and kind of.
Oh, is that where it
It's
fell?
from this is just from grazing the speed bumps on the road.
Wow, the scars. Poor durian. So we got all the way back up to the villa and just didn't make it over that last speed bump, and 2 sacks dropped on the road. Luckily, the car behind us stopped. And at that point, we were close enough to home that we were like, I'm going to grab those balls and take us to the finish line. So he cut them off the car. We said our goodbyes to Andre and came back. So the durian survived. So that was great.
It was great.
That was great. Trying to think of what else in Ubud.
How are you feeling emotionally so far in this trip? As far as the purpose of this trip? Seeing if this is a
Yeah.
life you could live and being here. How are
Yeah.
you feeling on that journey, that inward journey you're going on?
Okay. When I think about each day as I'm here, what this would be like to come back and live for long term being a year, I'm not. I like. Well, I can't even decide. I was leaning towards Canggu, and now I kind of like Ubud being close enough to walk in and the village. But I'm still missing my longing for water when I think of where I like to be and where I'm most peaceful. I mean, the rice fields are beautiful. I love being here, walking down the street to have a lovely coffee and breakfast. It feels like an extension of your home and like a kitchen, these small cafes. That's very calming for me. I could see doing that every day. But I haven't been like, oh my gosh, this is where there have been spots that I could see myself at, but I haven't, not ready to sign up yet. So we'll see. I'm just going to continue. I mean, I definitely love the laid back vibes. Just not there yet to commit to a year.
What are the things you're not liking or not loving? Or what are the things that make you hesitant to not commit?
I think it's honestly some of the dirtier, areas that are in between places that are a little more uncomfortable for me in between. Like I said, we can get to a place.
What makes you, what is it uncomfortable?
I don't know if uncomfortable is the right word, but it's just not like that awe-inspiring like moment like that we got when we go into the villa or when we are sitting at the rice fields or when we were at I haven't even talked yet about the yoga barn experience, just like the nicer ambiance areas. I like being in that
Nicer ambiance areas such as the villas, the yoga barn, and the cafes that were built to serve the foreigners here. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a different lifestyle, right? That I'm not.
It's not a different lifestyle, it's just a different level of general development
Yes.
that you're not used to.
Correct. Yes. That's what I meant to say when I didn't mean to say dirty. I just meant it's a different type of development of the street, the street shops and things like that. And I think more so is not that I don't like that because it's been fine. I'm with you. I don't know if I have that level of comfort if I was just a woman alone walking the streets. And I don't know why. Like, nothing has been scary.
I know why.
Why?
It's because your association with general dirtiness, or whether it's trash or just not well taken care of, it's that these are possibly like poor, more crime-ridden areas.
Yes.
That's your association.
That is my association. I'm not saying that's right, right?
No,
Like,
but you see that that's
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
yeah, oh, totally.
Right, but that's not necessarily a good way to
Agree.
measure safety levels around here.
Right, but I think that's where I'm saying I like it. I'm not ready to sign up, but I'm not saying no. You know what I mean right now? But those are just some of the noticeable or the things going through my mind that I'm like, okay, you know. But I mean, when we walk by places, even though they're underdeveloped, like people smile, you know, and say hi. It's not like they're mean or scared. Like it's nothing like dangerous I'm feeling. But I think you're exactly right that that's how I'm associating the less developed as not safe, right? And I think the only thing not safe is some of the dogs. They kind of scare me a little. But but yeah, I've
What's going to help you pull the trigger and make the decision?
well, maybe going to the next city and then village and then kind of just weighing them all out. Like they all have a little bit that I like. And then I think looking at what places would be available. And, you know, as I'm reflecting on what other cities do I want to travel to. So I'm not saying Bali's off the list. It's one of them, you know, right now, but then just kind of weighing out all the options. So could be in Bali again. It's learning what I want to do with my time, right? When I'm here, like again, the water. It's probably the only thing I miss, or is one of the things that I miss, right? Where I am, right? Well, back in the States, I'd like to find a place where I can be on the water. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for in another location. How do you think I've adapted from during this trip over the others?
Well, but it's just the comment about the things that you really like and then what makes you hesitant to not be here,
Sure.
right? Like that's just kind of how it is. And obviously one of the attractiveness of being in this place is that a lot of the comforts you have are more affordable, right?
Right.
But it comes with some of the discomfort of the getting to and from, but like that's how the market prices this place
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it's more affordable,
Yeah.
is because there are some things that aren't comfortable. So you have to decide what's important to you.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I have to decide what's important and be in a place where I feel safe and comfortable, right?
But yeah, I think just that association you have between like less
Yeah.
developed or like, I think it's more like dirtier, right? Or not well taken care of necessarily, like the sidewalks, there's a hole and whatever. Like you think that means dangerous, and the only danger is you not seeing it and breaking your
True.
foot stepping through the hole.
True. Although you had said that before, you know, you had commented on it being dirty too. Like it's dirty. You don't want to walk on that sidewalk. I mean, like that stuff didn't bother me as much in the beginning because there's so much to look and see. Like that's not going to stop me, but it does give me cause to pause, right? Like it does make me think like, okay, would I like it here? Is it? I mean, we're going to see. Again, like I'm not saying no, which I would say no to some of the other places we've been to, right? Like there is another place, but
Where would you say no to?
Taiwan.
You would say no to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Out of what concern?
Again.
Out of what concern?
Again, it's more the language, right?
Okay.
So it's more the language. Tokyo, I would say hell no, but we know that's like another planet. Shanghai would be nice, not long term. I'd go visit it again. Where else have we gone? Vietnam was maybe not like in the city, in the city where it was crazy. Maybe outside of it would be nice. But this Bali still rates above those by far. So could happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. You good?
Sure.
All right. So you're gonna break open some Christmas Eve day durian?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat this right now.
Okay. I'm sad already.
I didn't even start. I haven't even started yet.
I know, but I know what you're about to say.
Well, 3 days later, we're here on the final evening of your time in Bali. And we have spent the last few nights at a very, very lovely place.
Very lovely.
We wanted to sit outside, but we're having a bit of a storm behind us, unfortunately. But I think this is a cool silhouette view. So we apologize if the lighting is not up to industry standards, but it was artistic, I think.
It is artistic. And the storm is even beautiful in a place like this.
But yeah, we've been on the east coast of Bali in a bit of a random town/village. I chose this place specifically for the housing, not necessarily what's around us. So we've been here the whole time, giving you the waterfront living experience.
Yep. Sure have.
And so I don't think we've necessarily had too much of a cultural experience necessarily, but the whole purpose of this was timing this to be the end of the trip. So it's a great Christmas celebration, but also giving you time to reflect and think about what you are bringing back with you to the U.S. as far as your ideas for the future.
Right.
And how this experience was for you. So how are you feeling?
And it was a great experience. And you blew me away from the second I walked in. I think I burst into tears. Like, I never expected to be able to stay in a place like this. And that's one of the things I've learned, that Bali, the opportunities are here. Like, we did it. We can stay in places like this. So I think that's what's really opened my eyes to future opportunities. We stayed in all different areas. I loved them all. They all had different unique features, right? The different villas we stayed at, the different areas we were in. And it just makes me realize that I'm happy here, and I still have more I want to explore. Like, I definitely want to come back and do this. And I don't know which area for sure I'd want to go back to. I kind of learned the different housing setups in Bali, which is really, really interesting. The open air concept, right? I've never experienced that before. And even talking to people back home and on Christmas, they're like, wait, so it's outside? And then you get there, well, aren't there bugs? Well, aren't there dirt? What about if it rains? I mean, there still are those, concerns, but it's a trade-off from the experience you want to have. And those type of things didn't hinder me with, like, the open air, right, for housing. So I like the different options. I didn't know that before, right? I just see the marketing material of Bali is just beautiful, which it is, right? But you see the blue skies, the water. But
there are parts that are not the different villas and open air concepts. So I'd like to segue more into your experience of being in Bali, rather than talking about the different types of luxury architecture you've experienced.
No, it wasn't necessarily the luxury, and that's what I was going to say. It's even those that were luxury, there were mosquitoes, right? Like, I'm not painting this marketing blitz of all blue skies, sunshine, there are different trade-offs. I mean, I remember the first one, and it's here too, back in Shanghai, the whole bathroom experience is different. Like, that's a whole different culture to not flush the toilet, or you flush the toilet. The toilet paper doesn't go down the toilet. Like, that's a different concept. I don't know if people realize is a thing. Like, it's a thing. But like here, I was just like, oh yeah. But if you remember, when I first was over in, was it Taiwan, I think? At first I was like, wait, what? You don't do that? So there's different trade-offs, right? And that's just one small example with plumbing.
But we're able to adapt.
Yes, we are.
We're able to adapt.
Would everybody? Or would that, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be open to that. And that's what I'm saying. There are trade-offs with that. No, there are for you.
I know. I just think I think it's absurd that it's even of importance that we're talking about it right now.
But can't you think of some people in the US that we know that would be like, no, I would never do that, or I wouldn't want to, not that I would never do that, but maybe I wouldn't want to live in that, right? That's not as...
Yes, but every time we've been staying in that sort of place, you've had someone that comes in and cleans everything the next day.
Oh,
like, it's been such a high level of service and comfort that you've experienced that I'm surprised that we've spent so much airtime talking about putting the toilet paper in the waste bin that gets cleaned up for you the next day.
It's still different. That's all I'm saying. It's a totally different concept. Remember the toilets that were in the ground? Like, that took a bit to get over.
So outside of the bathroom, how has your trip been?
Well, speaking of bathroom, there's the whole Bali belly thing that you have in your head that's going to go on, but we've stayed very healthy. So I guess it just sometimes...
Have we stayed very healthy? Because you just said the whole Bali belly thing that's in your head, and there are scientific studies that talk about your thoughts and how that can have an effect on your body, and I think you might have had a first-hand experience.
Oh, you think I had...
I think you did it to yourself. I think it was in your head.
That maybe I'd get Bali belly, so I did?
I think that might be part of it.
No, I think it was just the humidity and...
Well, what happened?
I just had some bathroom issues that it's private that I'm not going to share. But...
So that's why you were so... So that's why you were so hurt about having to put the toilet paper in the garbage.
Oh, wow. Okay. Time out. That's a little TMI. But still, it's like... Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that, but I'm going to come back.
Right.
Toilet paper or not. Yeah, let's talk about...
Yeah, let's out of the bathroom.
Yeah, let's get out of the bathroom. Get out of the bathroom.
Let's talk about how you, since we've been here, have ventured out on some of your solo missions of getting the food.
No problem whatsoever.
Interacting with people on your own, and
no problem
whether
whatsoever.
there's a level of comfort. And
Yep.
again, I think we talked about previously, you were talking about, like, again, the connotation of conditions not being kept pristine might in your head have a connotation of a danger.
Yeah.
Right? And so how has you just being out and about and on your own and interacting with people while we've been here, has that kind of changed your opinion on that, or was your comfort level just being out and about on your own?
I'm super comfortable in the last few spots, like going out and getting us coffee, or meeting you out at a restaurant, or taking a walk down the road, because everything's convenient. And again, the language is helpful, so I have no problem with interacting with the money, paying for things and asking for what I want has been really easy. Like, I absolutely no problem coming here and doing that. Like I said, all I would want nearby, dream would be water, because it just always is wherever I go. It's always been waterfront living is what I strive for. Being able to walk to a local coffee shop is great. A couple food places. I don't need a lot. And each of these neighborhoods have brought that, except for the water part. And the Balinese people, it's not like we're looked at as foreigners, like some of the other places we've gone to where they really like stare at us, right? And like they've never seen that. Here it's more like, oh yeah, it's another.
Yes.
Right?
And so that's a conversation we've had as far as like when I use the word infrastructure.
Yeah.
So again, when I say infrastructure, I don't mean roads and bridges. I mean just generally the things are set in place to where being a foreigner here and living as a foreigner here and moving money as a foreigner here, which is kind of the most important part as far as the benefit of why
Sure.
this has been built up on their side, why they've been receptive to creating the infrastructure. By infrastructure, I just mean like your legal residency situation, the cafes that you are accustomed to, right?
Yeah.
The language, the fact that the people speak this language that
Yeah.
is not native to it whatsoever, and pretty almost everyone I don't think you've had a communication issue. Like it's not perfect, but
No.
like you can get your point across with patience, right?
Yes.
And also, I will say I don't think that's something that anyone could do. I think you are learning that, right? And again,
You are teaching
There's
me
also
that,
been
right.
progress this trip where I go like keywords.
Yes. The
Keywords.
massage.
Yeah,
Even
the
yesterday, she was, there were some words she did. I don't speak English well, and when I asked how long have you been here, they're just to be able to.
I would say how many years this job, or how many years
yeah.
in Bali if they're from outside of Bali.
Yeah.
Like you need to really, and again, I think that's learning other languages has been helpful for me, is like breaking down what a word mean, like the meaning removed from the word. Like
Yeah.
what is that?
Can I don't mean to interject, but I just want to make sure I share. She did understand when she was guessing how old I was.
Yes.
Yeah, she said, Miss, how old are you? And I said, how old do you think I am? Guess. And she says, I guess 28. And I said, I'm sorry, did you say 28? And she said, yes. And I started laughing really hard. She's like, what? And I said, wait, you say I am 28? And I did my fingers. I sat up from my massage and showed my fingers. She goes, yes, 28. And I said, oh. And just laughed because I'm not anymore.
So we mean infrastructure in the sense that there is residency opportunities. People do speak English. Like you can be here without necessarily having the prerequisite knowledge of the culture.
Yeah.
That is something you absolutely should learn to make your adjustment easier.
Oh, sure.
What I'm saying is it is a privilege to be here and to be able to do so in such a comfortable way, in which if you were to just move to, even within Indonesia, just a random beachside place where there isn't necessarily when we went into that airport, I told you it's even newer than it was last year, and you just scan. It's just so convenient, and it's just like that. I mean, that's probably the nicest airport in the country. I've not flown through Jakarta, but like that's a really nice airport, and I'm assuming it was funded because of the visa charge dollars. You know what I mean? It's just like there are so many people who have done it, to which you doing it would be very convenient.
Gotcha.
Right? You could do it in a full service way.
Yep.
Whereas if you were just in some random place in Thailand or Vietnam or in Indonesia, it might not be as easy. Certainly possible, and there's certainly services, but like it's just so streamlined here to where that would be of benefit to you, where you're still living abroad and can still take advantage of all that has to offer. But again, in such a streamlined way.
Yeah. No, and I liked that there's so many others that are here experiencing that as well. Like the lovely lady I met at the cafe, who moved here from Ireland actually, and she's teaching here in a private school, and just had a baby, and her husband is from here, but they weren't living here, and now she is, and really enjoys it. So there's a lot of people here that aren't born and raised here, right? Enjoying what this country has to offer. And like I said, they're welcoming. The ladies in the coffee shop, I mean, how nice they wrote the note to us on Christmas on the bag, just like wishing you a Merry Christmas. And And that was so nice. I mean, we're just doing business transactions, yet they were so welcoming and appreciative of us, and that feels good. So I could see being very comfortable here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else on your reflection on the entirety of the trip and moving forward, your considerations of being here or a similar place full time for a
Yeah.
set period?
I think it's definitely confirmed my desire or plan to go explore other cities internationally for a period of time. I'd like to come back to Bali. You know, we talked about the North End, or if there's other cities even within Bali, it'd be nice to stay a month or two in different areas.
Different villages
Yeah,
around,
different villages. That would be really cool because it's so easy to get to them, right? So I think there's still more. I mean, we were here a little over 2 weeks, which is great, but there's still more I'd like to do and see, and that's going to definitely be on the roadmap, as well as, you know, looking at some other cities. But yeah, I'm going to make international travel or living in my next few years of life and my journey to explore what's still out there, because there's so many places that I still can't believe are out there that I know I could love and enjoy and spend some time there and be very happy. And that's going to be my focus.
Cool.
So thank you for, yet again, opening my eyes to another country.
So progress this trip. Because I think the first time we sat down, you were talking about like, it's a little dirty or it's a
Yeah.
little noisy and it's not like well kept, and that
Yeah.
was a turnoff to where
Yeah.
now it's sounding 2 weeks later you understand that's how kind of things are here,
Yeah.
and that doesn't deter you completely
Does not
from
deter
wanting
me.
to live here.
No.
But see that switch, because a
Yeah,
week and a half
you're right,
ago when
you're
we sat
right.
down, you were like, I don't know if I could do it because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. But again, it's going to be about the where, you know, the location. But yeah, that doesn't, no. I think it's just feeling comfortable and calm in the beautiful surroundings that, you know, outside and inside. I'm not just saying like the places we're staying at, but just the things to see and explore. I'm
And the people.
the people.
It's not just about waterfalls.
No,
As
it's not just
though
about
many
waterfalls.
people, they really think the waterfalls are what we want to see, but what we
Yeah.
want to see is just the people and interact
No,
with
and
the
it's so
people.
funny because I know you're so anti going on the tours, like, but thank you for letting me do those things. But I can see that, like going to the rice field or the one we went to, where it's like, stop here for your Instagram photo, or
Pay a
smile
ticket,
now,
get
buy
on
your
the,
ticket.
get
and
on
walk-
the swing.
Like, yeah.
You did love it. I will say you did love it
Yeah.
when we went there.
Oh,
But
I did, but
You
living
s-
here, like I saw it, right? You know, again, it was like, check, like, okay, they're there, but now I'd like to go to a rice field that's not you buy a ticket for, right? Like, I'd like to go see different places, but that's not why I would move here, if that makes sense. It's not for that. Yeah, it's all good. It's thank you. Yeah, you're right. There has been evolved in thinking over the last couple weeks. I want to see more. I want to meet more people, and yeah, can't wait to see what's next. Where do you think we're going to go next year? We haven't talked about
do you
that.
have any? Well,
What's our 2025 trip?
do you have any places of interest?
Well, I talked to you about, in no particular order, Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, Portugal.
Yeah, those are all great. Yes, those are all great retirement options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll continue to do my research, and maybe you'll meet me somewhere, and we got to figure out when.
Sure.
And we'll have 2 more fabulous trips next year.
Cool.
And then we'll reflect and be like, I wonder where we're going to go next.
But
But
just so all of these thoughts and dreams don't remain dreams,
no.
we're going to have to turn off the camera because we're going to have our private conversation regarding familial finances and game plan and how we're going to make this all work.
Yes. You help make my dreams come into
I do-
reality
yes.
because of
Actionable
the planning.
steps.
Actionable steps, which I've been thinking about here, and I've started to get down on paper, which I feel so excited about because, you know, I know some people think I'm 28, but retirement really isn't too far off,
No.
and super excited about that.
Right.
So let's get it down on paper and make it happen.
Let's get it down on paper and make it happen.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you for coming and visiting and
Honey, I will
exploring
I will
this
travel
island.
clearly anywhere around the world to see my son.
Ah.
And thank you for spoiling your mama for 2 weeks and keeping yourself calm with as frustrating as it might be with me not being even close to where
the
you
maps, dude. The directions is just.
The
That's
directions
where
are-
you gotta work. You gotta
Alright.
work.
are. All right, you could have just said, Mom, it's okay.
Was that a sore spot?
Yeah, directions and my camera work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my goal for next time.
Okay.
I promise. I love you. Thank you for this.
I don't know if we probably have to do it this way. I don't know
Oh.
if the silhouette picks it. Maybe like something like this.
Love you.
Thank you in Bahasa. How do you say it?
Bahasa.
Huh?
Bahasa. Bahasa.
No. Bahasa is the language.
Yes.
That's the. No. Bahasa is the name of the language.
Right.
So how do you say thank you in Bahasa?
How do you?
2.5 weeks.
Ukam means open.
What does?
Ukam.
Does it? Terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Namakasi.
Terima kasih.
Tiramisu.
Oh, a little disrespectful.
I didn't mean it. I meant it to be funny, not disrespectful.
Right.
I never mean it to be disrespectful. For the record.
That's all about your intention.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
let's talk numbers.
Okay.
All right. That has been Renee's end of 2024 discovery trip. Life after retirement.
Or I like
Preparing
to refer,
for life after
or
retirement.
I like to refer it as
Yes, next year.
no next month. I like to refer to it as the Bali Mama.